everybody, welcome to the Zero Budget Talk Show. We have lived to see another day. We don't have a soundproof studio. Yeah, I'm just gonna start over. This isn't a live show anymore, so it's one luxury we can afford, I guess. Hi everybody, I'm Casper St. James, and this is the Zero Budget Talk Show. We've lived to see another day. For some reason, our producers they make decisions based on Twitter. So I guess this is also part reality show. The question last episode was, has Matt Kinsley put the final nail in the show's coffin? And people were to put hashtag canceled if they thought so, and hashtag mercy if they thought we deserved to keep on going. Frederick Handel says Casper isn't such a friendly ghost anymore, but he is just as pale. Hashtag canceled, hashtag poetic justice. Where do I start? I'm not a ghost, nor have I ever been a ghost, and never really been pale. George Clinton, who was a former writer for the show, not that George Clinton, says, "I'm taking you down with me, Casper. Hashtag canceled. Hashtag vengeance. Hashtag please hire me, NBC. Hashtag my wife took the kids. Hashtag living on the streets. Hashtag bring back the mullet." Well, George, you weren't paid when you were here, so your wife taking the kids and you living on the streets is not really based on your unemployment. At least, we're not responsible for that, are we? And don't bring back the mullet, hashtag no. And finally, Rongo5000 says, give Casper hashtag mercy, proving that blood is indeed thicker than water. He finishes by saying he finally supported the arts. Hashtag green rongos. Hashtag Iranian cowboy. Hashtag glasshead. Hashtag ZBTS. Hashtag boycott the ubiquitous melancholy. And hashtag irony. Hopefully hashtag irony does not discredit everything else he wrote. But hashtag boycott the ubiquitous melancholy. Couldn't agree more there, but unfortunately they are back on the show. We haven't learned our lesson. We're going to commercial here, but after the break we have Jagger Knox, the kicker for the Dogtown Slick Lizards. I don't know where the Dogtown Slick Lizards are from. Well, Dogtown, but where there's some kind of football team in some ghost town somewhere. Also we have Questin Keat, Minnesota's leading embalmer, and a return visit from the ubiquitous melancholy. So stay tuned, if you so dare. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Zero Budget Talk Show. I am Casper St. James. Coming to you live from the scene of the Slick Lizards' historic victory from Bob McManus Park in downtown Lillament, we welcome their captain and field goal kicker. Welcome to the program, Mr. Jagger Knox.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I would like to congratulate you on your 3-0 victory over the Lillament Guillermo's Pizza and Wings Shark Warriors.
Thank you, Casper. You know, it was a great win. It wasn't pretty, but you know, a win's a win.
Not a whole lot of scoring for a championship game, wouldn't you say?
You know, we just had to trust the process and grind out a win. Our backs were against the wall, and we just went out there and played our game. We Finally got the monkey off our backs.
Yeah, it really doesn't sound like much of a game, to be honest.
The other team, give them a lot of credit. They're tough competitors. They're a classy organization. But at the end of the day, we just wanted it more.
So what you're saying is that they didn't want it.
We beat a very good team today.
You know, instant replay seems to suggest that you actually didn't make the kick, that it passed under the crossbar.
I'm a tough out.
This is football we are discussing, is it not?
I was lighting it up from downtown.
Which reminds me, will your recent DUI arrest affect your eligibility next season?
Sorry, Casper. We see me breaking up. Hey man, I want to go grab a pizza? Yeah, hold up. Goodbye.
Jagger Knox, everybody. We'll be right back with Questin Keat, Minnesota's premier embalmer and the pride of Storden, Minnesota. We'll be back. Good news. It's usually customary for the talk shows to meet the guy he's interviewing before he interviews him. Try harder next time.
Six Semper Tyrannis!
What is this? Hot dog? Who are you? I need this. Someone get that guy. And this shirt needs to be washed. It's ruined now. Absolutely. Okay. Cut. Go back to commercial.
Go back to commercial there.
Hello, I'm Casper St. James, and welcome back to the Zero Budget Talk Show. We have Questin Keat on the show. I would like you to all welcome Questin Keat to the program. Questin?
Here? Here?
You could just sit right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, make sure it's at the... Yeah, there you go. Don't mind what he says. He's an intern, unpaid, has no real motivation to do his job well. Of course, I don't get paid either, but I at least care about presentation. So welcome to the show, Questin.
Thank you very much.
You are an embalmer.
Yes.
That's quite an interesting, peculiar profession, really. So how exactly did you get into that line of work?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what connotation of peculiar you're using here. I'm not sure.
Well, it's not necessarily the most popular profession.
True. Fair point. Well, I got into embalming because, as you know, in my small town, a lot of people die, and really that's kind of a thing that happens everywhere.
Yeah, everyone does.
Your friends and your family, and my friends and my family will die.
I will die,
you will die. I might die.
You might die.
Might, yeah.
What if you... So you might not die?
We haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, so what if you do die?
Well, I have considered that as an option. If I were to die, I think I would like to be cremated, because I don't really think that anyone could embalm me as well as I could embalm myself.
Well, it's good to be confident.
But alternatively, I have created a small robot that I have named Quentin Jr. That would do the job for me if no one else wants to embalm me.
Okay, well,
But I won't die. I might.
Okay.
I don't know what's funny about that.
Okay. So, people die. That's why you got into the job.
Yes.
Tell us, exactly what do you do? What does your job entail?
Well,
what is the day-to-day... Yeah, sorry.
Since becoming Minnesota's first best embalmer, I really haven't done much embalming. I kind of travel across well, Minnesota mostly, and I go to high schools, local high schools, and I talk to teenagers, specifically between the ages of 14 and 16.
Why is it just those ages?
Oh, well, I am terrified of 17-year-olds. But I talk to them about the practices of embalming and the relative merits of it and the dangers of embalming.
Dangers?
Yeah, because embalming is a pretty dangerous profession.
Can you kind of elaborate on how it can be dangerous?
Well, I didn't really want to talk about this on national television.
I'm sorry, you don't have to.
Is this television?
I don't really know.
Okay.
But you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I don't get to talk to people very often. So it is dangerous. As you can see, I have a mild deformity. It's a minor minor disability.
Right. I didn't
really,
I saw
really,
it, but I didn't really.
But yes, my hand is mildly deformed.
Do you mind if I ask how that?
Yeah. So one time I was embalming a man, and I sort of threw my hand into a vat of formaldehyde without knowing it, and I left it there for an...
Could you not feel it?
Well, no, not at that point. No, I couldn't. It was an extended and sort of prolonged period of time, and so bits of my hand began to melt off, which is really kind of upsetting. But actually, what makes it more disturbing is that I was embalming a man, and while chunks of my hand were falling off, and I think that they kind of got into the specimen, and that's even more disturbing because I think it might have been my uncle.
Might have been. You weren't quite sure?
His face was kind of messed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Cinder block.
So it's dangerous. It can be dangerous. You had a minor mishap that... minor.
Just
very
tiny.
minor. And, but I heard you mention that you were Minnesota's first best embalmer.
Yes, first best.
First best embalmer.
The previous guy died.
Yeah. So how do you become the best embalmer? How do you become what makes you the best at what you do?
That's a really good question. Gee, that's a good question. So I think I would like to say it's based on like a lifetime of work, but really it's just kind of like one sort of scenario, one occurrence that happened where I may or may not have brought a man back to life using essential oils. This might be one of the most incredible things I've ever heard, but you brought a man back to life using essential oils. Lemon and lavender, to be exact.
So if someone dies and you give them lavender and lemon, they're brought back to life.
Well, actually, the probability of that is really slim.
So it was more of an anomaly.
I don't know what that means, but I kind of rubbed it into his pores, and it's interesting because somehow the essential oils really kind of brought the blood back into him, and he walked out and left, and I've never seen the guy again.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a...
With neither of my eyes, I've never seen him.
I mean, I don't want to make any kind of sweeping statement, but that kind of sounds like I could be very wrong, granted, but it sounds like a kind of a mistake or a freak of nature and science.
Well, that was actually, it's funny you mentioned that because that's what I've been labeled in like magazines. I am the freak of nature and of science.
Well, I think you're very well adjusted. I wouldn't call you that.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
That's probably one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me.
Well, I'm glad I could compliment you in that way.
Nicer than the things my mother says, for sure.
Well, mothers
are usually dead. Sometimes at some point.
Well, yeah.
Mine is.
Every
I embalmed her, but that's more. We're not going to talk about that.
I understand. Now, you also, before the show started, we were chatting, as you recall.
Yes.
And you mentioned in passing, I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on this during the show, but that while embalming is your profession, taxidermy truly is your passion.
Yes. Both of the things you've said just a second ago are true. Embalming is my profession, but my passion really lies in taxidermy. I would really like to do taxidermy.
And what about it exactly appeals to you?
It's something about just the majesty of it all. But unfortunately could never do that.
Why not?
Come
on, I bet. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm terrified of animals.
Terrified? Why? I mean, you're so interested in taxidermy. It seems.
Yeah, but I could never do that. I'm terrified of animals.
Do you mind if
I
ask why?
I wasn't going to talk about this either, but one time my Aunt Shirley sort of locked me in a cage with several animals at once, and they kind of did this, and I kind of did this, and
that is a horrible punishment.
Actually, it was a reward.
Why would a reward?
My birthday. I didn't ask to do that.
That she sounds very.
I come from a very small town.
Well, she sounds.
Entertainment is scarce.
That was entertaining to people. It wasn't entertaining to you.
No, I'm terrified of animals now.
And
people.
Well, people, I understand.
And blood.
And blood. Well, that's interesting because when you brought that man back to life, his blood returned. So.
Yeah, I mean, embalming it kind of involves and entails entrails and blood, but you see, I am terrified of blood. So usually I just kind of stick things and then I turn away because I don't like to see the process.
Okay. Well, small town, right?
Yes.
And what exactly you? I remember you. There's the place where you embalm, and next door there's a church.
Well, yeah, see, I mentioned this in an interview in, actually, I think it was 2002, June of the 1st, and it was because I made a quip about how a good diet of a Krispy Kreme with a little bit of essential oil on top is really what leads me to success, but the church you mentioned next door started as a Krispy Kreme factory, was converted into a church, and then is now called the Church of the Krispy Kreme. It lies on the corner of Krispy Kreme and Main.
So, I mean, do they worship donuts?
They make donuts.
So you don't know if they actually worship a donut?
There's not a whole lot of religion in the area. I mean, it's kind of the central and primary one, mostly because it's on Krispy Kreme and Main.
I mean, naturally, but, I mean, so do you go there and eat donuts, or...?
Yes, but only on Sundays.
Okay, and I don't know anything about this religion, but it seems to me eating the donut would kind of almost be eating your God. And I guess I can kind of get that because, you drink the blood of Christ and, but is it the same kind of thing? Did a donut die for...
You seem like a very smart man, Casper.
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
I actually think that they could use your...
Do they not have very good, leadership?
Well, there's not really anyone that goes to that church except for a few people, and they kind of live in it.
They live there?
Yeah, they rent the place.
That is, I don't know.
I think they rent it from the city itself.
Okay. It's a very strange dynamic this town has. I'd like to visit it someday just to kind of see if these stories are...
Okay, but you'll have to schedule an appointment, because they will only let you in town. That you have to follow a side road, and they'll only let you through the gate if you have an appointment.
Only if I have an appointment. Well, I don't get a lot of vacation time granted, but I'm sure...
I could put in a good word for you. I know the mayor. I embalmed his wife. Okay. I don't know what's funny about that.
I'm sorry. Questin Keats, everybody. He'll be right back after our sponsors, and we'll be back with Questin Keats and the ubiquitous melancholy.
Who are late?
Welcome back to the Zero Budget Talk Show. I'm Casper St. James. Unfortunately, Questin Keats had to leave the program, for there was an embalming emergency somewhere in his native Stoughton, Minnesota. But, as promised, we have a return visit from the ubiquitous melancholy, Eddie Venus, and Mystery Man, who has never revealed his name.
I got the weirdest itch on my upper lip right now.
Okay, well, it's always a pleasure to have them back on the show. How are you both?
So about that dubstep track.
Welcome back to the Zero Budget Talk Show. Questin Keats had to tend to an embalming emergency in Storden, Minnesota, and is on the train back. Also, the Ubiquitous Melancholy, we reached a deal with their managers, so the interview we recorded with them will actually not be broadcasted during this episode, thank God. We did, however, find these two lovely men in our audience, and as it turns out, they are anti-embalming activists. This is Gary Gunderson, and this is Sergei Pudovkin.
Hello!
Sergei, Gary, we learned a lot from Questin Keats about embalming, the merits of embalming, why he embalms, how he embalms, how he spreads awareness for embalming. I guess my first question to you two is, why have you chosen basically the opposite path of anti-embalming?
Humans have become debased by preservatives. Embalming is an abomination. I've worked my entire life as a radical vegan to rid my body of preservatives and antibiotics. After I die, they will inject preservatives into my body, making all I worked for naught. I am here to fight that.
Okay. Sergei?
I do not know what embalming is. What is embalming?
Embalming is when a person has died, an embalmer will rid the dead body of fluids, replace it with some kind of preservative to keep the body preserved for a few days for display at funerals. At least that's my basic understanding. Questin, if he was here, he could explain it much more intricately than I could.
That sounds terrible. We'd never do that back home. You'd get shot for doing that back home.
Why?
Then you would have that filled into you for doing it.
So why is that so detestable to you?
That's... Okay, when you die, you're dead. They throw you on the ground and throw dirt on you. You want to see them after they die? Grab picture. Oh, hello, you're alive there. Okay, yeah, that's what you do.
As it should be.
Okay.
Your country is weird.
Okay, fair point. So Questin, he went around his state of Minnesota to high schools, I suppose, to raise awareness for embalming. How do you raise awareness, Gary, for your cause?
Questin Keats, my old nemesis. I've engaged him numerous times in debates across the state of Minnesota and twice in South Dakota. If I had to describe him in 2 words, I would say, pretty good. But he's not that good. I'd consistently defeat him in debates, left and right, day and night across the country.
Consistently, huh?
Consistently.
Okay, Sergei, we learned a little bit about Gary and how, but you apparently have not actually, you don't actually know what embalming was until a few moments ago. How do you plan on following in your hero's footsteps with his anti-embalming activism?
Well, I mean, like I said, we don't worry about that back home. I guess I'll just go
So
back.
are you here on vacation or business or something?
Little bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
I could get into it, but I mean, I'm not going to.
I
For
see.
your safety.
Okay. Interesting. What do you two think of people like Questin Keats?
People like Questin are an abomination. They need to be snuffed out.
Even though he brought a man back to life using essential oils.
Especially because he brought a man back to life. He's a freak of science and nature. He should not be allowed to walk amongst the good people.
I'm sorry, just a moment, but Sergei, you seem to have a very interested look on your face.
He brought somebody back to life?
Yes, he brought...
Like, really?
The way he told-
he was dead, and then he's alive.
Yes, the way he told it, he used lavender and I believe lemon into the pores of a dead man. It brought the blood back to him, and I guess the life was returned to him.
That's incredible. You think you can do that to my son?
I suppose it's possible.
Well, I mean, he's been dead for 10 years.
Well, maybe a little bit too far gone.
I would like to say something. In my many debates with Questin Keats, he has often raised this tale of raising this man from the dead. But I have the documents, the proof that shows him to be a fraud. I will be disseminating these documents.
May I see it?
You may see them. That's enough.
Hold on.
You are mishandling them. They're crumbled.
On April 19th, 1998, Questin Keats, using lavender and lemon, was able to bring the lifeblood back into a dead man, thereby reanimating him.
Yes, that was the official report. But I have debunked that through years of painstaking research.
And what has your... How have you debunked it?
I found the man. He's dead. He died in 1998.
But he was brought back to life in 1998 as well.
Yes, that is what they want you to think.
Okay, I think we've had enough time on that. Where do you see your movement going?
We will seize the White House. We will seize the Congress. We will seize the Supreme Court. We will cast out the embalmers whose foul influence has taken over this land, this once great country.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
We will restore the freedom to die naturally to the people.
It's a right to die.
Yes.
Yes.
I can see you're becoming persuaded.
I am so persuaded. Sergey, how do you... What is your plan?
This country is crazy.
So you're going back to your country?
Oh, absolutely.
And not worrying about this?
Oh, no, not at all.
No, don't blame me.
Which Eastern European country are you from, comrade?
Oh,
that's right. You have no answer, because this man is a spy.
What?
He's a plant from the embalmers.
Oh,
A spy.
what are you doing? Stop it! Oh,
God, this mustache is big.
Stop. What are you doing? You're crazy. I'm leaving now. Stay away from me.
Sorry, Sergey.
Fortunately, he won't be going far. I have his keys. I will be seeing him in the parking lot.
We'll be right back.
So...
Poor late.
Shimaru.